Once there was a girl a-running in a group. She had a high-speed motor in a 44 coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look at Buddy, hot rod at large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
You remember me talking to you when the UAW was having all their problems? One of the things they had a problem with was a beach house or a lake house in northern Michigan. A luxurious lake house. That house was being built for former President Dennis Williams, who was sentenced to prison in the union's embezzlement scandal. Yes, he was. Okay. The UAW received $1.1 million for the purchase of a controversial lakefront house in northern Michigan built for former President Dennis Williams. This is what the Associated Press reported last week. Williams, in May, was sentenced to 21 months in prison for being a key ringleader in the union's embezzlement scandal, along with his successor, Gary Jones. The multi-year federal investigation resulted in 15 convictions. And this is UAW and brass from the car companies, and they took the guy's money, the rank and file money. New UAW President Ray Curry wrote a note to members Tuesday that the property's sale was finalized by July 23rd. The property, Cabin 4, at the UAW Conference Center on Black Lake, was listed at $1.3 million and is located in Sheboygan County. Curry said the money will go into the union's general fund. What are they going to do with it there? All this stuff came from the fund that was dedicated to training. Now, are we going to lose the training and lose our great union workers? Come on, let's get the training back. Let's put these guys, make them accountable. The guys that did the stealing, put them in jail, get the money back, and just get rid of them and be done with them. Lawsuit, ding, 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 ding. This whole electric car business and the autonomous car business has just opened up a lawsuit heaven for lawyers in patent infringements and name infringements. Well, here's one right here. General Motors and its Cruise automated driving subsidiary said early Saturday they have asked the U.S. federal court to stop Ford Motor Company from using the name Blue Cruise to market its hands-free driving technology. Instead of autopilot, they're calling it Blue Cruise. Well, General Motors has a Cruise that's electric and it's going to be autonomous. In a statement and documents released shortly after midnight, GM said Ford's use of the Blue Cruise name infringed on GM's Super Cruise and other GM trademarks for automated driving, such as Hyper Cruise, as well as Cruise's trademarks. Ford, in a statement, called GM's and Cruise's claim meritless and frivolous. Oh, really? GM filed the suit in U.S. District Court for Northern District of California, which is based in San Francisco. Well, that should really do a number on them. Based in San Francisco. You know what's based in San Francisco? You ever been there? See pictures of it? There's garbage in the streets.
I've seen the pictures of San Francisco. My sister went not so long ago.
The Bay is pretty. They haven't gotten to the Bay yet. They cleaned that up, but boy, the streets are a mess, and homeless is everywhere. Oof. I wouldn't want to go to. Why would I want to go to Frisco? Anyway. Here come the infringement suits. It's just going to happen. Now, for all of you folks that drive a car and rely on that accurate mileage on the dash and that miles to empty on the dash, even the god-darn gas gauge might be no good. The AAA Motor Club has found that the fuel economy and miles to empty indicators are not always accurate. The study found the fuel economy displays the tested vehicles were off by a relatively low 2.3%. Well, if you know my brother-in-law, 2.3% means walking to the gas station because he goes right to the last mile. And when it comes to shorter trips, miles to empty estimates varied greatly in tests conducted by the AAA and the Automotive Research Center of the Automobile Club of Southern California. Variance also depends on factors affecting gas mileage, such as speed and acceleration. AAA says drivers take an unnecessary risk if they overly rely on the displays. Plenty of drivers may already be doing that. About 74% of drivers use those miles to empty estimates to decide when to fill up their gas tank, AAA found in a consumer survey. Well, I'm not wild about that situation. How many kids are out there that think electronics and that anything digital and it's God's word? The ones that live by the phone, anything that shows up on the phone or my dashboard is the will of God. Well, guess what? I just told you. It's not correct. Now, if it can be off by 2.3%, that's all they're going to admit to, it can be off by 10%. Trust me. I don't understand how 2.3%, where they came up with that figure. If it's off, it's off. If it's not reading correctly, it's not reading correctly. And going with miles to empty, depending on how you drive. That's all in how you drive. If I've got 10 miles left on my car, and the guy, and AJ Foyt has got 10 miles left on his car, he's going a mile, I'm going 10 miles. But he drinks that much gas. You know what I mean? It's how you drive and the speed and blah, blah, blah. But the average car being off that percentage and more probably, because if they'll admit to 2.3, it's got to be more than that, I would say. Just my opinion, and of course everything said here is the car guy's opinion, has nothing to do with Gerard Media or WIMS, WHFB, or 106.7 F. This is strictly my job, my stuff, and that's just the way it is. We're going to talk about electrification of trucks, and we're going to try and get into the autonomous driving. By the way, August 28th, car show, Blue Top, be there. This is the guys from Southside Cruisers, and they do a fantastic job. Yes, they do. Their last show was just outstanding. They really put it on. Good stuff. A lot of fun. It was really fun. We're going to talk about electric cars for a little while here, because that's where we're going. Trust me, it might not be your next car, but if you're young enough, there's one in your future. There's one in your future, Eric. There's not one in mine. I'm too old for this. I'm going to have...
You're not that old.
I'm going to have internal combustion, and I'm going to have a gas pedal and a steering wheel. Well, a brake pedal. I want a brake pedal and a steering wheel.
I think that's all you want, right? Just a brake pedal and a steering wheel?
Yeah, if it goes, fine. I don't care. I can sit there all day. It doesn't matter to me, but I don't want to get caught in something that I have absolutely no control over. That's definitely not going to happen. Magma. Magma's a huge supplier in Europe. And Magna International's approach to getting pickup trucks and light commercial vehicles electrified is to drop in axle replacements. When it comes to electrifying trucks, automakers want to make sure their vehicles will have the same brawny towing and hauling capabilities that drivers are used to, even with an electrified axle, of course. You don't want to lose that Chevy pickup or that Ford pickup to an axle that can't haul anything. Okay? This can take a lot of development time, and these days automakers are in no mood to let anything take a lot of time. No, they're not. That pandemic cost them a fortune and the chip shortage. That's why North America's largest supplier is looking to speed up truck electrification without sacrificing a truck's best utility traits. Magna's International says e-Beam approach will bring new electrified pickups and light commercial vehicles to market faster by using new drop-in replacements for traditional beam axles, said Ryan Shaw, Magna's manager of advanced engineering driveline systems in North America. Well, maybe. The Canadian mega supplier, it's got Magna's from Canada. E-Beam is an electrified axle that uses a traditional beam axle architecture and emplaces the electric motor and gearbox directly on that solid rear axle. So you're going back to rear-wheel drive. The E-Beam integrates with a full battery electric or hybrid vehicle powertrain and is available with a single or dual motors. More significantly, for development schedule purposes, the approach can take place without requiring the introduction of a unique suspension. No changes. Chassis or brake system while preserving towing and payload capacity. So they're not going to change your truck at all, but they're going to electrify it. And they think they have a way to do that. Not having to change an entire vehicle platform to electrify, it is Magna's biggest selling point for the e-Beam in terms of time to market. In other words, you want to bring your car to market, you get Magna's platform, and by God, they'll make an electric pickup for you. Yes, they will. We're going to talk right now about chip shortage. That seems to be on everybody's mind. Let's start at the very beginning and then we'll go and we'll get to the consequences. But the very beginning started with the virus, with the pandemic. And the car dealers were shutting down certain plants and shutting down certain shifts and changing everything around and doing all the social distancing and yada yada. And they didn't think they were going to need to make any cars. Plus, there was nobody out riding, nobody shopping. So they canceled their chip orders. Now, just remember, these things keep chips. These laptops have chips. These computers that run the show have chips. Everything. The clock radio in your bedroom has chips. And these chips are under heavy use right now because most of the people that were staying home for a month or two bought computers, they bought new phones, they bought all kinds of stuff that had chips. And the chip suppliers, which are in China, are all dealing with them. Well, now here comes the people of America that are out, the ones that are not involved in this pandemic, and they want to buy cars. There's special incentives for them to buy the 2020s. And they went out and they bought everything up. Now, we're back to full production. That's how the assembly lines are rocking and rolling. But nobody replaced their chip order. So they had to scramble and beg for chips. And there's not enough to go around right now. Simply because of the increased demand from the small appliances or the bigger ones. Doesn't matter, your vacuum's probably got a chip in it these days. They didn't renew their chip orders. And they are to blame for this problem. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, the manufacturers should have kept their standing chip order, collected their chips so that when they went back to work, they had plenty of chips to build these new 2021s, and they don't. Somebody dropped the ball. They all did. The only one I know of that kept their chips was Hyundai. Hyundai had a big stockpile of chips. And I think a lot of those got bought by Kia. And I mean, they're trying to keep sister companies alive. Now, this chip shortage, what does it cause? It has caused used car sales to go through the roof. Because as they're sold, there are no more. Dealers are actually paying, I've heard of dealers actually paying some of their salesmen as much as $400 to find a car online and buy it so that they can bring it to the dealership and sell it. So now if they're giving a $400 tip to the dealer or to the salesman, plus a commission when he sells it, plus a profit when he sells it, how much you think over the price of that car they're asking? It's hard to tell, Eric. Used cars are a premium right now for that reason and a couple more. The lease companies, all the people that have leases that lease these cars 3 years, 36,000 miles, the guys turn them in. They turn them in because they're done with their lease, and that makes a great used car. It's a great used car for someone to go out and buy. 3 years, about 30,000 miles on it, 3 years old. It's a beautiful car. The price is right, everything's right. Well, the price is not right anymore because they're not turning them in because when they do, there's no other cars for them to drive, so they don't want to turn in their lease. They're asking them to turn in leases early, and they won't turn them in. Some of the leases are ironclad, and they're going to have to turn them in, but they're not going to have any cars to lease again. They can't move laterally. They can't get that Chevy Impala and turn it in and get another Chevy Impala. There are no more. The car lots are sitting with literally 1/5, no, less than that, 1/10 of their inventory. Some of the lots that had over 700 cars on lot are now under 100. Sad. And that's new cars. The used cars are all gone. They've been bought up. People are paying huge dollars. Huge dollars. I had an instance where one of my customers told me her niece went out and bought a new Hyundai, one of two on the lot that she wanted. It wasn't exactly the right color. It wasn't exactly what interior she wanted, but she bought it anyway and paid $3,000 over sticker for it. $3,000 over the window sticker. Yeah. And she claims that she had to do that to get the car. The dealers they only got so many cars left. They're letting the people bid on them. Trucks. If you've got pickup trucks somewhere stashed, you are the golden dealer in the world, because they're going anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 over sticker. Over sticker. That's because these big companies need trucks. They wear out trucks on a regular basis, and they're regular customers of Ford, General Motors, Dodge, whoever. They and they don't have any trucks. They can't find any. If they get one, they got to bid on it, and they'll bid whatever they have to because they got to have a truck to keep in business. Again, that's the fault of the chips. General Motors and Ford said they were going to ship them minus a chip, and it would have less features, or minus 2 chips and have less features. One of the features that GM was going to get rid of, leave a chip out, was the start-stop thing, that's horrible. I don't like it anyway. So that's a good thing. I have it on my new Ford. I turn it off. Ford has an off button for that, but they're liable to get rid of that so they can save a chip and put out some more trucks, because the trucks are trucks and SUVs right now. You won't see sedans. Sedans and small cars will be the last ones on the market after the big three get their trucks and their SUVs out. Now, some of the other car companies that have a lot of sedans may get some out. You maybe end up buying a European or an Asian sedan. That's fine. But you're going to have a hard time finding a good Chevy, Dodge, or Ford sedan or two-door or whatever, because they don't have chips, and they're saving their chips for their trucks so they can nail you on the price. And they are nailing us. Knock on wood. I bought mine in December. I got all the perks. I got the 0 interest, the whole bit, because that's what they were doing then, to get rid of they do it every year, to get rid of their 2020s. Well, they got rid of them, and now they got nothing to sell. Now they're out of vehicles. They should have never done that with their trucks. 20% off and all this other stuff. 0% financing, 0 interest. I'm just telling you, it's not. The chip shortage was brought about by a combination of a pandemic and your car manufacturers not really reading it right. They didn't read the situation and keep their chips ordered. I know they said we were out of rubber for tires because of that ship in the Panama Canal, and we were out of seat foam because of that ship in the Panama Canal. And my parts supplier tells me that his parts are sitting off the coast of California waiting for a longshoreman to come and unload it, and then a truck driver to drive it away, of which they have none out there. So, yeah, some of this stuff is created. We have a lack of labor because people just find more ways to make money than going to work, like going on the welfare. And we don't have any workers. So that's a shortage. So even if we did have all the chips, would we have enough people to work on these cars? Ford is talking about shipping their pickup trucks to the dealer without the chips, where you can go and look at them and you can buy one, but you can't take it home. So you're going to own this thing, and you got to wait until they bring a couple of chips out, and the dealership has a mechanic that will be dedicated to refinish or finishing the finished product. You want a half worked on, a half baked truck, and then you wait for the baker to come up with some more rolls? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work. And seeing that truck on the lot and not being able to take it home, that flat out stinks. Okay? I'm not paying 40 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand for a pickup truck, 70 maybe, and then being told, okay, when the chips come in a month or so, we'll fix you up. So I still don't have a truck. But I paid the money, and the dealer's got it. Not right. It's not going to be the same.